In just 45 short minutes, over 1,300 wild birds were gunned down. This isn't a stage scene from an action movie. This is the reality happening right here, in the heart of modern America. But here's the real horror. Why is this act of destruction publicly organized and celebrated as a sporting competition? What drives these people to become relentless gunmen, racing to win a cup with the lives of thousands of creatures? Is this a sport, or is it just a legalized massacre? Join Agriculture Flow as we expose the controversial secrets behind this annual bird festival. Let's start now. To understand that 45-minute massacre, we first need to know who the hunted are. First, let's talk about the European starling, an uninvited guest from Europe. They were brought here in the 19th century, and now they reproduce at an uncontrollable rate, invading every space. Second is the wild goose, a Native American species, seemingly harmless. But when they overpopulate, they are no different from a destructive army. They cover the surface of the water, destroy cornfields, and even pose a deadly threat by striking airplane engines on runways. Finally, there's the wild turkey. This species is large, powerful, and widespread throughout rural areas. When they gather in flocks, they ravage crops, dig up the soil, and compete for food with other wildlife, increasing ecological pressure. One species came from Europe. Two grew up right here in the US. All three have now become enemies in the sky for farmers in the aviation industry. It is this ecological imbalance that has given rise to these record-breaking hunts. Not merely hunting, but an effort to restore a balance that has been broken. After the declaration of war, it's time to step into the real battle. Take a look at the hunting team. Just 4 to 6 seasoned hunters, each equipped with a shotgun and positioned strategically around the barley field. They don't need to hide. Their weapon is technology. Speakers emitting the panicked distress calls of the flock, a perfect sonic trap. And then it arrives. The starling flock approaches from a distance, not a mere group, but a colossal black storm covering the sky. They only have seconds to act. A rapid succession of shots, boom, 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 erupts. A storm of lead rains down. Look, the camera mounted on a gun records the moment those tiny creatures fall from the air in slow motion. In less than an hour, over 1,000 birds were taken down, a rain of lead on the barley field, an effort to protect the crops and an unprecedented record. Now it's time to harvest the results. The hunters begin walking through the rows of barley, gathering the dead birds into large mesh bags. This sight, while controversial, is completely legal. It must be made clear, the starling is not a rare bird. It is considered an invasive species detrimental to agriculture. Therefore, U.S. law permits mass extermination. There is no hunting limit. This raises the question, Is controlled killing justified to protect the crops? Not a single bird is wasted. Their meat, though sparse, is protein-rich. It will be sent to wildlife rehabilitation centers or bird of prey breeders for food or used for biological research. It's a cold but necessary cycle. After the weighing and record confirmation, the next step is processing. The hunters carefully pluck the feathers and clean the internal organs. The feathers will be collected or disposed of properly, and the organs are hygienically processed, with some even being set aside as food for other animals. Despite their small size, starling meat is perfectly edible and rich in protein. They are prepared in various ways. Some are roasted whole in the traditional style, and some are chopped to be cooked into stews or soups. The majority of the rest will be used as feed for livestock or as food for large predators and conservation programs. This process strictly adheres to the zero waste principle. Nothing is discarded. Every single bird contributes, whether as food, livestock feed, or for local wildlife conservation programs. This is a practical and sustainable approach, effectively controlling a damaging invasive species while maximizing the resource nature provides. That is the ecological responsibility that Agriculture Flow aims to emphasize. If the starling hunt is about speed and volume, the hunt for wild geese is a game of wits and patience. This isn't about speed, it's about strategy. With a population exceeding 4.3 million, these large birds may look majestic when flying in their signature V-shaped formations, but on the ground they create a surprising amount of damage. When gathered in high numbers, they overgraze grasslands, destroy crops such as corn, peanuts, and soybeans, and leave behind enormous amounts of droppings and feathers. This not only ruins gardens and farmlands, but also poses serious health risks, especially around water treatment plants and public swimming areas. The danger doesn't end there. Canadian geese are ranked as the second most hazardous bird species to aircraft, just behind the turkey vulture. Large flocks flying near airports can cause catastrophic collisions, threatening both human lives and aviation safety. For these reasons, controlling the goose population is essential in the U.S., where hunting Canadian geese is legally permitted but strictly regulated. Hunters must have a license and can only act during the prescribed hunting season. Many view this not just as a pest control measure, but as a popular form of recreation, especially in the fall when the geese begin to migrate. The field is meticulously prepared. Decoys mimic a single goose or an entire feeding flock, coupled with fake calls that convince the real geese a perfect landing spot is waiting. Location is also critical to success. Hunters always conceal themselves cleverly, backs to the wind, to take advantage of the geese's landing habits. On rainy or windy days, the volume of migrating geese increases, opening the opportunity to hunt dozens of birds in a single day, providing both recreation and reducing crop damage. The decisive moment arrives. A small mistake, and the entire flock will fly away. But when the perfect strategy works, that's when the game is over. It's not just goose hunting, but a powerful tactical ritual between man and nature. After the highly tactical hunt, the reward is an authentic outdoor culinary experience. The processing is done right in the open, where the birds are carefully plucked and butchered. Goose meat is more than just sustenance. It's a wild game delicacy. The majority is processed into smoked goose jerky for preservation or sliced into high-quality goose breast steak. Here, hunting is not just a control activity or simple recreation. It is a ritual. It is a deep connection to American tradition, a gratitude for sustenance and survival. Gathered around the campfire, sharing the bounty of the trip, people find a balance between utilizing natural resources and respecting the rules of survival. This is the lesson about the natural life cycle that agriculture flow wants to convey. We have seen the traditional connection through the highly tactical goose hunt. But now let's confront a new challenge, a native species that has risen with unforeseen power, causing even greater chaos than the goose flocks.
See?
From a native species that was nearly extinct, they have returned. Not just returned, but resurged. In North America, the population of wild turkeys has soared to nearly 7 million, and they are no longer staying put in the woods. This is not just a hunting story. This is a story of a new ecological challenge. Wild turkeys have reproduced naturally, and their population has dramatically spiked out of control. They have flooded into cities and residential areas, disrupting daily life. Their presence is everywhere, from sidewalks and front yards to extremely dangerous traffic situations. The most alarming time is the breeding season, when the male turkeys become incredibly aggressive. The moment they see their reflection on a window, they mistake it for a rival and attack relentlessly. Crop damage, food competition, and urban chaos. That is why, in many areas, hunting the wild turkey is considered the only way to retain control and maintain order for both nature and people. Hunting the wild turkey has never been easy. In fact, it could be called a psychological game. This bird possesses extremely sharp eyesight and acute hearing. They are so intelligent that even the slightest change in the environment can make the whole flock wary and cause them to instantly scatter. Therefore, hunters must have maximum patience, tracking every footprint in the soil and listening intently to the flock's calls to pinpoint their exact location. For turkey hunting, timing is everything. In the spring, when the male turkeys are focused on finding mates, hunters will use calls mimicking a hen to lure them in. In the fall, when they gather in large flocks, hunters must skillfully use flock calls and deploy incredibly realistic decoys. To maintain concealment, they must wear specialized camouflage gear and select a position based on the wind. And there is a golden window from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. when turkeys are highly active but less cautious than in the early morning. When the target appears, hunters typically use a shotgun or bow, aiming for the neck or legs instead of the head, as their heads move constantly. Quick, precise action is mandatory. And finally, after a successful hunt, wild turkey meat is highly prized for its firm, rich, and juicy texture. This invasive species is not only controlled, but also fully utilized as food, turning the hunt into a double victory for both the hunter and the ecosystem. Immediately after the hunt concludes, the team of hunters begins the harvesting process. This work requires seamless coordination and strict adherence to safety rules. The goal is not just the trophies, but the collection of biological data. Every turkey is carefully examined, weighed, measured, and classified by size and age. These parameters are crucial, helping wildlife management agencies assess the population density and adjust hunting limits for future seasons. This harvesting process demonstrates the fragile balance between utilization and conservation. It is proactive harvesting to control the numbers of an overgrowing species, thereby minimizing negative impacts on crops and protecting the habitats of other native species. This practice ensures that the resurgence of the wild turkey does not lead to ecological collapse. Hunting in this context is a matter of ecological responsibility. After the harvest, the turkeys are brought into a professional cleaning process. All feathers and internal organs are removed, and the meat is thoroughly washed. This is a vital step to guarantee the quality of a premium wild game meat. The difference from the starling is clear. Wild turkey is a plentiful and high-quality source of meat, yielding significant economic value. Wild turkey meat is used in various ways. It can be roasted whole in hunting feasts, slow-cooked into traditional stews, or processed into packaged meat products for the consumer market. Beyond the meat, the economic value also lies in the byproducts. The feathers can be collected for use in crafts, and some non-food parts are even processed into feed for other animal species. The principle of full utilization is strictly applied. Controlled hunting not only solves an ecological problem, but also generates a valuable, sustainable economic resource from the wild. We've witnessed the brutal truth of a necessary conflict, the starling shot down for a record, the tactical pursuit of the wild goose, and the control of the surging wild turkey. For those on the land, this hunting is a righteous war for economic survival and ecological balance. For those who value every life, it is heartless, industrial-scale destruction. The fundamental question remains: when the defense of human livelihood requires the sacrifice of a creature's life, be it invasive or native, where does the line between conservation and cruelty truly lie? Would you save them and risk agricultural disaster, or pull the trigger to protect your livelihood? Share your perspective. This is Agriculture Flow, and we are always ready to explore the complex, often heartbreaking, corners of the natural world with you. See you next time.